Scrooge lifts his head from his trembling hands to behold an airy sight.
Heavens! What comes here? Am I in the presence of the ghost of Christmas yet to come?
The black hooded figure does not speak a word, but instead lifts his bony hand with outstretched finger and points.
You are about to show me shadows of things that have not happened, but will happen in the time before us. Is that so, Spirit?
Not moving at all, still with his finger pointing, the ghost stands.
Ghost of the future, I fear you more than any spectre I have seen. But as I believe, your purpose is to do me good, and as I hope to live to be another man from what I was, I am prepared to bear your company, and do it with a thankful heart. Will you not speak to me?
The ghost of Christmas future recoils his arm and thrusts up his putrid finger onward.
Lead on. Lead on. The night is waning fast, and it's precious time to me. I know. Lead on, Spirit.
As the wind whips around Scrooge's tattered dressing gown, Scrooge now finds himself in a familiar part of the city.
I know these men. Excellent men of business.
No, I don't know much about it either way. I only know he's dead.
When did he die?
Last night, I believe.
Why? What's the matter with him? I thought he'd never die.
God knows.
What has he done with all his money?
I haven't heard. Left it to his company, perhaps. He hasn't left it to me. That's all I know.
It's likely to be a very cheap funeral, for upon my life, I don't know of anybody who will go to it.
I don't mind going if lunch is provided.
What is the meaning of this, Spirit? Of what poor soul do they speak of?
The spirit says not a word, but points in the direction of an old, darkly lit warehouse.
Oh, Spirit, this is my home.
What I say is every person has the right to take care of themselves is all. He always did, Lord knows.
But that is my room. Those are my things. What are these horrible people doing here? Oh, no, that's true indeed. True indeed. No man more so, and that's a fact.
Why, then, we shall help ourselves. And who's the wiser? He's no worse for the loss of a few things like these.
No, indeed not.
If he had wanted to keep them after he was dead, the wicked old man, why wasn't he natural in his lifetime? If he had been, he'd have somebody to look after him when he was struck with his death. Instead of lying there, gasping out his last, alone by himself.
That's the truest word that was ever spoken. It's a judgment on him, it is. The case of this unhappy man might be my own. I see. My life tends that way. I shall not forget its lesson. But let's leave this place of death. Let's leave it now. Please, Spirit, please, dreadful spectre. What would you show me? No, let us leave, Spirit. This fearful place. In leaving it, I shall not leave its lesson. Trust me. Is there not one person on this great city who feels some sympathy and pity on this wretched man's death? Is this the end of it, then? Oh, let me see some tenderness, or this dark chamber will forever haunt my vision.
The room around Scrooge spun in circles, to the left and then to the right, with his eyes tightly shut, clutching to the blackened robe of the ghost of Christmas future. Suddenly, he appeared at the home of Bob Cratchit.
The color hurts my eyes. They're better now. It makes them weak by candlelight, and I wouldn't show weak eyes to your father when he comes home. It must be near his time.
Past it, rather. I think he's walked a little slower than he used to these few last evenings, Mother.
I've known him to walk with.
Oh, heaven, no! Tiny Tim!
I've known your father to walk with Tiny Tim upon his shoulder very, very fast indeed.
So have I, Mother.
But he was very light to carry, and his father loved him so. And there's your father at the door.
Oh, Father, don't grieve.
I wish you could have gone, my dear. It would have done you good to see how green a place it is. But you'll see it often. I promised him that I would walk there on Sundays. My little child. My little child. I happened to come across Mr. Scrooge's nephew just today in the street, and he said to me, I am heartily sorry for it, Mr. Cratchit, and heartily sorry for your good wife. If I can be of service to you in any way. Now, it wasn't for the sake of anything he might be able to do for us, so much as for his kind way. It really seemed as if he had known our Tiny Tim and felt with us.
I'm sure he's a good soul.
He is indeed. I shouldn't be at all surprised. Mark what I say, if he found Peter a situation.
Oh, hear that, Peter?
Then Peter will marry and set up for himself. Get on with you.
As likely as not, one of these days, though there's plenty of time for that, but however and whenever we part from one another, I am sure we shall not forget our poor Tiny Tim, shall we?
The spirit lifted his dark cloak over Scrooge's face and down his back, and to Scrooge's surprise he was standing in a graveyard, as dark and damp as his very own bedchamber.
Spirits of the future, I have been considering what I have been shown this night, and by the spirits of Christmas past and present, and I am thinking of putting into practice some changes in my life. Let me behold what I shall be in my days to come. My counting house is yonder. Why have you taken me here?
The spirit points to a headstone covered in weeds and soil.
Merciful God, what is here? Does this belong to that wretched man of whom those people spoke? Oh, I see by your gesture that you wish me to approach and look upon this grave. Before I draw nearer to that stone to which you point, answer me one question, kind spirit. Are these the shadows of the things that will be only? Men's courses foreshadow certain ends, which if they preserve in, will come to that end. But if the courses be departed from, the ends will change. Is that not so? O Spirit, say it is thus, with what you show me now.
As cold as ice, the spirit points to the covered stone.
I see you wish me to know the name of this poor, unhappy man who died without a soul to mourn his passing.
Slowly, Scrooge approaches the gravestone and removes the tattered leaves and soil that entwine the gravestone marker.
No, Spirit, no, Spirit, hear me! I am not the man I was. I will not be the man I must have been but for beholding this. Why would you show this to me if I am past all hope? Good Spirit, your nature intercedes for me and pities me. Assure me that I yet may change these shadows you have shown me by an altered life. I will honor Christmas in my heart and try to keep it all year long. I will live in the past, the present, and the future. The spirits of all three shall strive within me. I will not shut out the lessons that they teach. Oh, tell me I may sponge away the writing on the stone.
Clinging to his bed curtains and writhing on his sheets, Scrooge sits up on his own bed. Perplexed by his wondrous adventures, he jumps up and runs to the window.
Could it be? Could the spirits have done it all in one night? You there, boy.
Me, sir?
Yes. Sweet fresh air, heavenly sky, oh, glorious. What's today, my fine fellow?
Today? Why, Christmas Day, sir?
What a delightful boy. What a smart chap. I haven't missed it. The spirits have done it all. Of course they can. They can do anything they like. I say, boy, do you know the poultry shop in the next street but one at the corner? Do you know whether they've sold the turkey that's hanging up there? Not the little price turkey, but the big one?
What, the one as big as me?
Charming child. A pleasure to talk to you. Yes, my lad.
It's hanging there now.
It is? Good. Go and buy it. No, I am in earnest. Go and buy it. Oh, and this is for you.
Scrooge dresses quickly, not giving much mind to the outfit he has chosen. He then bounds out of the house onto the street, giddy as a schoolboy, hopping about wishing every person he greets a Merry Christmas. On the street, Scrooge runs into his nephew Fred.
Merry Christmas, nephew!
Uncle, is that you?
It is I, Fred, your Uncle Scrooge. So glad I found you. I will be attending Christmas dinner this evening with you and your wonderful wife. Will you have me up?
Have him up? It's a mercy he didn't shake his arm off.
I will be there promptly at 6. Keep it piping hot.
I will, Uncle Scrooge. I will. And a very Merry Christmas.
He meets the young boy with the turkey Scrooge sent him to buy. Scrooge continued on to Cratchit's, leading the boy through the part of town that Scrooge rarely visited. They arrived at the house of Bob Cratchit. Standing outside the Cratchit's house, Scrooge could hear the sound of a family celebrating Christmas morning. These sounds were foreign to Scrooge. Choking back the tears and briefly reverting to the former miser he once was, Scrooge knocks on the door.
Mr. Scrooge, please, come in.
Why were you not at work this morning, Cratchit?
But, sir, it's Christmas Day. We spoke about this only yesterday. You said I could take the day to celebrate with my family.
Now, I'll tell you what, Mr. Cratchit. I am not going to stand for this sort of thing any longer. And therefore, I have decided to raise your salary.
Mr. Scrooge, sir?
A Merry Christmas, Bob. A merrier Christmas, Bob, my good fellow, than I have ever given you for many a year. I'll raise your salary, endeavor to assist your struggling family.
I don't understand, sir.
I have a great many things in mind, Bob. I understand you have a young man in your household in need of a position, and that your child, Tim, is in need of medicines. We will discuss your affairs this very afternoon over Christmas turkey.
Scrooge and the Cratchits celebrated together, eating turkey and making merry all day long. Scrooge was better than his word. He did it all and infinitely more. And to Tiny Tim, who did not die, he was a second father. He became as good a friend, as good a master, and as good a man as the old good world knew. Some people laughed to see the change in him, but let them laugh. And little heeded them, for he was wise enough to know that nothing ever happened on this globe for good at which some people did not have their fill of laughter. His own heart laughed, and that was quite enough for him. In later days, it was said of Ebenezer Scrooge that he knew how to keep Christmas in his heart all year long. May that truly be said of all of us.
Merry Christmas, Bob.
And God bless us, everyone.
Thank you to our wonderful WICY players. Narrated by Julie DeRushy, Matthew Maneely as Ebenezer Scrooge, Corey Maneely as Bob Cratchit, Scott Dalton as Fred, Danny Cleaves as Jacob Marley, Sheila Maneely as the Ghost of Christmas Past, Tracy Maneely as Belle, Andy Cox as Mr. Fezziwig, Andrew Richard as Ghost of Christmas Present, Kelly Taverney as Mrs. Cratchit, Brooke DeRushy, Alyssa Maneely, Dylan Charleboys, and Valerie Dalton as the Cratchit Children, Ethan Maneely as Tiny Tim, Kim Kaiser as the Ghost of Christmas Future. And special thanks to Ginny McLaughlin, Maria Bourgeois, Neil Drew, Alex Stone, Megan Taverney, and Drew Scott. On behalf of all of the staff at WICY and their families, happy holidays and a very Merry New Year.